You're listening to the Matador Beat.
Welcome, Red Raiders, to the Matador Beat. I'm China Vargas, joined by Brady King. This is episode 3 of Women in Journalism, and I'm really excited to have Brady as a guest today. Thank you so much for joining me today, Brady. How are you today?
China, I'm so good, and I'm so excited to be here. Really honored that you asked me to be on your podcast.
Of course. No, I told Brady, I said, I saw you on Twitter, and I had to ask, because it's like you never know unless you ask.
Yes.
And so I'm so glad I just
always shoot your shot. Never hurts to ask. That's
exactly.
Great advice.
So Brady, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a sports reporter and anchor here in Lubbock at Fox 34 and KCBD. We're all kind of meshed into one now. So I've been here since March of 2020. Which has been crazy. A week or so before the pandemic started. But hey, so happy to have sports back. This is my first job in sports television out of school. So I went to the Walter Cronkite school for my master's. So I got that, graduated in December of 2019, was an athlete all my life, has always just been so passionate about sports and just good storytelling. So it all led me to here.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, my other question was asking where did it all begin for you? Because I did a little research and you're not from Texas, right?
Right, correct, yes. But I love Texas. It's growing on me, for sure, yes. But no, I'm from Colorado, so I grew up in Loveland, Colorado. I, like I said, played sports my whole life, primarily softball and basketball, and always knew I kind of wanted to get into sports, work in sports. I always knew that was my goal at some capacity. Then was wanted to go the broadcast route. Obviously loved Erin Andrews, all of those sorts of people, looked up to them. And so when I decided to go to college, I got a softball scholarship to Regis University in Denver. So that's kind of where I started out. They didn't have a super developed media program y'all have here. You have top-notch stuff.
Oh, thank you.
But we didn't have that. So I have some old clips of mine that are so cringe, but hey, you gotta start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere. That's funny.
Right. So I got my undergrad degree there. Then after that, worked in media for a little while, but realized I really wanted to pursue sports broadcasting. So I decided to apply to grad school, and I got an internship while I lived in Arizona with Arizona Diamondbacks. Got some really good experience there, just working in a kind of sports intense environment within that program there at Cronkite, which was great. I owe so much to them. But so I got my experience there, and then just ended up here. News director found my reel on YouTube, kind of an unconventional way of ending up here, but it really ended up being perfect because I wanted to work in sports and was able to do that right after. So, yeah.
Did you know in high school that you wanted to do journalism, or?
I'd say I wanted to, but I hadn't made really any big steps to do so. You know, I always had a dream of it and could see myself going that route. I always liked writing. I always liked English. Those were always kind of my main I guess subjects that I enjoyed aside from recess.
Back
in the day, But so I think I always wanted to, but didn't really make the steps until later in college.
I kind of went the same route too, because in high school I thought I was gonna major in English. I tell everyone that. I'm like, I thought I was gonna be an English major. But then a lot of people just ask me, but what do you want to do with English? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. Teach, write a book.
Right? But everyone was like, well, you have to be a teacher then. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to go into teaching per se. And then I toured tech, and I really did kind of choose journalism on a whim. Because I was like, I love writing. I love reading. I'm great at it. So why not do something that I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool to be a part of.
Absolutely.
So I just kind of hopped into journalism as well, in college, making those big steps.
Cool. Yeah, you kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like. I've tried a lot of kind of different things, always tailored towards sports, but still tried different avenues like social media, you know, marketing, all the different things, but kind of figuring out what you like is important.
And it's like, that tells anyone, like, you don't have to know by high school.
Oh my God, no. I even say in college, like, I was just saying how I've had a couple of people shout at me. I'm like, don't feel, I know you feel that pressure. I remember it. I still feel it sometimes.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have it all figured out. Like, it feels like you need to know exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life today and just be taking steps towards it. And it's you don't have to have it all figured out. No. It'll work out.
I think that's why I like journalism too, though, is because, I mean, some of my friends that are in journalism, they're like, I don't know if I want to be a journalist, though, per se. You just have those, like, fundamentals of journalism that can take you somewhere else.
Asking questions. Exactly. There's so many, like, writing, just so many principles it can teach you, for sure.
Exactly. So one of my other questions is, and this one I don't even have the answer to, but who is your dream interviewee?
This is really tough.
That's what I was saying. I don't even know if I have it figured out.
Goodness gracious. Put me on the spot here. I've been thinking about this. Let's see. Okay. How about just in today's, like, if I'm saying tomorrow, who do I want to wake up and interview?
And they're like, you have to interview this person. And you're like, okay.
You know, I'd have to go, this might be controversial, but I'd have to say Tom Brady.
I mean, no, it works.
You know,
it's a good,
I know some people either love or hate him, but I think he's doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been in the league forever. He seems like a good man. He's had so much success and continued success that I just want to kind of rack his brain on, like, how do you do it?
That's a great person.
As far as athletes, I think that would be my number one as of right.
Who's your favorite sports team?
I'm gonna keep thinking about that though. My favorite sport, I grew up a Nuggets and a Rockies fan for sure. Also grew up watching the Colorado Chill, which was our WNBA team that, like, lasted not that long, which is sad because I loved them. Yeah. Becky Hammond played for them. Oh, so cool. But my favorite sports team, as of right now, was also a Broncos fan. I'd say just Denver. I cheer for all Denver sports teams.
I like
and then obviously Texas Tech has made me very pro Red Raiders, you know, so I always am cheering for them to succeed too.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, when you said Tom Brady, I'm a Steelers fan, so I was like, oh. No, but I get that, because that is a story in itself, and that man doesn't seem like he's going to stop.
No, goodness, he's going to go forever. Yeah. And I think, and it's not even so much that I'm like a Patriots fan or anything like that. I think I just respect him and his success.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I still can't think of a person. I mean, Beyonce came to my mind, and I'm like, I would just love to just talk with her. It wouldn't even be a story. I would just be like, how are you?
You're like, can we get lunch?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh
my goodness.
There's so many people out there that I would be honored to chat with.
Or even like Ellen DeGeneres, like an interview with her, like, how would that even go?
For sure, yes. Right? I even think I'm really, I obviously love sports, but I really love entertainment news too. So there's so many, Jennifer Aniston, there's so many people in the entertainment industry that would be so cool.
I know. Okay.
Someday we got it, girl.
Okay, yeah. You'll catch us on the news. What has been your favorite story to cover and why?
My favorite story to cover and why? This, I'll just do recently, I guess, since I've been here in Texas. We obviously cover Texas Tech very heavily, but we also cover high school. Right. And my favorite story I got to do this past year was Lubbock Cooper. Their Special Olympics team went to state, and I did a story. They kind of meshed. They had athletes integrated with the athletes helping the special
That's so cool.
needs individuals, and kind of teamed up, and these kids were just so awesome. Not only like the coaches, but the kids themselves just brought me so much joy, and it reminded me why I love, just getting to interact with people and storytelling, and that was my favorite story, just getting to share their excitement of going to state. And
that's amazing.
Yes, that was my favorite story as of late.
I think I did see that on Twitter.
Did you?
Yeah, that is so sweet.
It's a good story.
Okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my goodness gracious.
I always say 5 years because I'm like, that's not that far, but it's kind of far. Like 5 years, I would most likely be out of college.
Right.
But you could be completely different.
Yeah, you never know. Honestly, I try not to be too far in the future because it tries to.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. It's a fair question. I mean, because it kind of stresses me out a little bit. Right. You're just like, what will I be doing? But I'm hoping I'm still working in this industry and loving. I think it's just progress building up. I hope I'm continuing to make connections. I'd love to be a team reporter or host, so I don't know where that will be,
Right.
but I think that would be amazing, whether it be here in Texas for a professional team or really anywhere else. And then just growing and living life with my family.
Right.
I love my family. My husband is here. It's just us two and our dog, Garth, our basset hound.
That is so cute, Garth.
Yeah, Garth,
Garth?
named after Garth Brooks.
Oh,
They're both from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That is so cute.
Yeah, he's the best ever. I can't even imagine having real kids because I love him more than life itself. It's kind of scary.
No, I get that.
But yeah, I think just enjoying life and hopefully really continuing to excel in this career is where I see myself. I don't know if that answered very
that's
specifically, but
amazing. Well, I was gonna ask you then, like, did you ever think you would be in Lubbock?
no, honestly, I played at Regis, so we came down here for softball because we played
Right.
LCU in a tournament. So I had been to Lubbock a couple times, but never, thought twice. I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings or anything like that. So
You're like, this is where I'm gonna live.
Yeah, right? Never. But once we got here, they flew me out for my interview, and it was during, I think it snowed. It was kind of funny. It was so random. It was in February last year, and it was snowing, and I remember it was like less than an inch, and school was canceled, and I was like,
Texas freaks out.
oh, yeah, it was kind of funny though. I was like, oh, this is great. I wish we did this in Colorado, I would have had a lot of snow days.
Yeah.
But, and I really have fallen in love with the people here. I think the sports are great. Just being in Texas, getting to see firsthand. I love the show Friday Night Lights, and getting to see that legit
Like, whoa,
West
here.
Texas, atmosphere. Obsessed with football. Just sports are so huge. So I couldn't have asked for a better kind of spot to land for my first job in sports.
Yeah, and it's so great to have you here too. And I think Lubbock in general, I think people forget. It's like a hidden gem. I would say it is, because I as well kind of was like not paying attention to Lubbock, and I was like, Lubbock for
Where are
school,
you from?
tech. Well, my story's long. My dad's military, so I moved around. I was
bounced around a lot.
I did. I was born in Mississippi, and then we moved to San Antonio, and then we moved to Florida, and then Japan, where my little brother was born actually, and then England, and then Abu Dhabi, which is like where I love, like,
okay, I should be interviewing you. Your story is insane. That's so cool.
And my boyfriend actually, he is from Lubbock, and he's like, we should tour tech, let's just check it out.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I was just kind of like, Lubbock,
yeah,
tech?
what
do you mean? And then I came to the college and I spoke to the recruitment advisor, and she was just so sweet. She did her job. She sold me.
Totally.
And so I'm here, and I love it. And sometimes I am like, when I go visit family in San Antonio or Houston, I'm like, man, I kind of miss Lubbock. Yeah. I miss my life in Lubbock.
No, that's so fair. I think sometimes going in with not having many expectations is the best way to go, because that's how we came here. We're like, I have no idea. And we've just found little bits and pieces that we love about it, for sure.
I like that, yeah. No expectations.
Yeah, you don't tell me I have no expectations with life.
I like that. Okay, so one of my final questions for you is, what advice would you give someone that wants to go into journalism, or even, specifically sports journalism?
You hear it all the time, but making connections is so huge. Never hesitate to reach out to someone you see on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, just to see, how they kind of, if you look up to them, how they made it, or, if they have any advice for you. Also, I would really try to get an internship. I know that's not always easy, especially not paid internships aren't even that prominent either. But if you can just get any internship to try to get in with, either for sports specifically with a team or an athletics department or anything like that, just to see if you even like it, if that's the environment you want to be in. So I say that, and then just have confidence, especially being a woman in sports. Sometimes, you're questioned like, does she really know that much? And just be confident in that you don't have to know everything. Nobody knows everything. Just be confident in what you do know and ask questions and be open to learning from each situation.
You mentioned, as a woman in sports, have you ever, felt questioned by your ability, or?
I'd say not no specific situations stand out. I think it's just knowing that you kind of are one of the few. Like, even when I go to tech availabilities here, I'm typically the only girl in there, which I have no problem with. Like I said, I grew up playing sports. I had amazing male mentors. My dad was my coach my whole life, so I have tons of... I'm very comfortable, being around
that's amazing.
Strong men that lift you up and stuff. So everyone here in the media, sports media world is really great and really welcoming. So no, but I think it's just that,
it's the stigma.
You're kind of a lone wolf sometimes. So you just, again, you gotta, just be confident and be yourself, and know that you don't necessarily have to prove anything. Just
do what you love.
If you love it, then you're where you're meant to be.
I like that. So this week we have our spotlight journalist, Maria Ressa. She's one of this year's Nobel Peace Prize winners. Maria Ressa is the second woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize and the 18th woman to win in general, or second woman journalist, my bad. She won the award for efforts to safeguard freedom of expression, which is a precondition for democracy and lasting peace, according to the Norwegian Nobel Committee. Journalists have only won the Nobel Peace Prize twice, only in 2011 and now in 2021. I encourage everyone to check out her work, as Nessa has also been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2018. Well, Brady, do you have any? I know.
Girl power, baby. I love it.
I love doing the spotlights because I go like historical to now. It's amazing. Yeah.
Inspiring for sure.
Yeah. Well, do you have any last remarks or anything you want to say?
No, just being a woman in sports journalism and journalism in general is really cool. I love seeing you thrive in it. Everyone, and I think it's an awesome field to get into. So I thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Thank you so
I'm honored.
much. Yeah, thank you. That is all the time we have today, Red Raiders. Be sure to pick up your copy of the Daily Toreador this coming Thursday and keep up to date with all things on tech on our website, dailytoreador.com. Also be sure to interact with us on the rest of our Twitters. You are listening to Women in Journalism, a production of the Matador Beat.
You're listening to a production of the Matador Beat.